You've lived. You've loved. You've sacrificed. For decades, you've carried the weight of responsibilities, raising families, working hard, keeping up with expectations. But now, tell me something. When was the last time you truly lived for yourself? Not for your children, not for your spouse, not for your job, for you. When was the last time you let go of the worries, the obligations, the burdens that no longer serve you? I remember the moment it hit me. I was sitting alone in my favorite chair, staring out the window, and I asked myself, how much of my life have I spent worrying about things that don't even matter anymore? I thought of all the times I put others' opinions above my own, all the things I held onto out of guilt, all the events I attended just to be polite, and I realized I was tired. Tired of carrying what I no longer needed. And in that moment, I made a choice to live lighter, freer, for me. And that's why I'm here today, to help you do the same. Because, my dear friends, the best years aren't behind us. They are right here, right now. And it's time to live them fully. Before we begin, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video. It helps me keep sharing more important lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Also, if you enjoy this video, please comment 1. If you don't, comment 0 so I know how to improve. Now, let's get started. 1. Letting go of others' opinions. For most of our lives, we've been taught to care about what others think. From childhood, we learn to seek approval, to be the good son or daughter, the reliable friend, the hard worker, the person who never disappoints. We shaped our choices, our words, and even our dreams around the expectations of others. But here's the truth, no matter how much you try, you will never please everyone. And the more you try, the more of yourself you lose in the process. At 70, 75, 80, there's no more time for that. There's no more time to live for anyone but yourself. I remember a woman I met years ago, a lovely soul in her late 70s. She told me, I spent my whole life dressing a certain way, speaking a certain way, even walking a certain way, because I wanted people to like me. And now? I wonder, how much of my life was really mine? That question stayed with me. How many of us have made choices not because we wanted to, but because we feared judgment? How many moments of joy have we missed because we worried about what others might say? The beauty of aging is that it brings clarity. We start to see that the people who truly love us will love us exactly as we are, not for what we wear, what we achieve, or how we live, but simply for being ourselves. And as for those who judge, their opinions are nothing more than noise. Imagine the freedom of waking up tomorrow and deciding, I will no longer live by anyone else's rules but my own. Imagine dressing however you want, saying what you truly feel, and making decisions without the slightest concern for approval. Imagine finally stepping into the fullness of who you are, without hesitation, without apology. The weight of others' opinions is heavy, but the moment you let it go, you reclaim your life. You stop being a puppet pulled by invisible strings and start living with confidence, peace, and authenticity. So today, I challenge you, let go. Let go of the need for validation. Let go of the fear of judgment. Walk forward with the unshakable belief that your life is yours, and yours alone to live. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. 2. Releasing material possessions. There comes a time in life when we look around our homes and realize we have spent a lifetime accumulating things. Closets filled with clothes we no longer wear. cabinets packed with dishes we rarely use, garages overflowing with boxes of memories, some long forgotten. At one point, these things may have felt important. Maybe they symbolized success, security, or a certain phase of life. But now they are just weight, physical, emotional, and mental. I once knew a man named Richard. He was 78 years old, and one day, he decided to downsize. As we sifted through his belongings, he picked up an expensive watch, one he hadn't worn in years. He laughed and said, "I bought this because I thought it would make me look successful." Turns out, success wasn't in a watch. It was in the time I spent with my grandchildren. That moment stuck with me. How much of what we own actually brings us joy? And how much of it is just clutter, taking up space, collecting dust, weighing us down? The truth is, possessions don't define us. They don't bring lasting happiness. When we were younger, we may have found excitement in buying new things, but as we grow older, we realize the greatest treasures in life aren't things at all. They are the moments, the people, the experiences that fill our hearts, not our shelves. Think about the last time you felt truly happy. Was it because of something you owned? Or was it because of a conversation, a shared meal, a quiet morning with someone you love? The happiest moments of our lives are never about what's in our homes. They're about what's in our hearts. So, what would happen if we started letting go? Not just of things, but of the emotional attachments we place on them? Imagine the freedom of clearing out the clutter, of donating what no longer serves you, of releasing objects that hold no real value, of creating space for peace, simplicity, and joy. Today, I encourage you to let go of just one thing. Maybe it's a box of old clothes. Maybe it's a piece of furniture you never use. Maybe it's something you've kept out of guilt rather than love. Each thing you release is a step toward a lighter, freer life. Because in the end, the only things truly worth holding onto are the ones that make your soul feel full. 3. Saying no to social obligations that drain you. For much of our lives, we've been taught to say yes. Yes to invitations, yes to obligations, yes to people and events that, deep down, we didn't truly want to engage with. We showed up because we felt we had to, because it was expected, because saying no seemed rude or selfish. But after 70, something shifts. Life becomes more precious. Our time, our energy, our peace, they matter more than ever. And the truth is, not every invitation deserves a yes. I remember a woman named Margaret, a warm and kind-hearted soul who had spent decades attending every family gathering, every church function, every neighborhood event. One day, she confided in me, "I've spent my whole life being polite, showing up, making small talk, but you know what? Most of the time, I just wanted to be home, reading my book in peace." There was sadness in her voice, a realization that so many of her hours had been spent pleasing others instead of honoring herself. How many of us have done the same? How many times have we dressed up, put on a smile, and engaged in conversations that drained us, simply because we felt it was expected? But here's the truth, you don't owe your time to anyone. Time is the one thing we can never get back. And at this stage in life, every moment should be spent in ways that bring us joy, meaning, and fulfillment. Imagine how freeing it would be to only say yes to the things that truly light you up. To decline the invitations that feel like a burden without guilt. To prioritize your own happiness over social expectations. Saying no doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means choosing how and with whom you spend your time. It means being intentional, protecting your energy, surrounding yourself with people and experiences that fill you up, not drain you. So, the next time you receive an invitation that doesn't excite you, ask yourself, am I saying yes because I want to? Or because I feel obligated? If it's the latter, give yourself permission to say no. No explanation, no guilt, just a simple, thank you, but I won't be able to make it. And watch how much lighter life becomes. Because when we stop saying yes to what doesn't serve us, we create space for the things that truly do. And that, my friends, is a gift worth embracing. Embracing authentic beauty. For most of our lives, we've been told what beauty should look like. Smooth skin, thick hair, a youthful glow. Magazines, television, and society have spent decades convincing us that aging is something to fight, something to hide, something to be ashamed of. But let me ask you this, why? Why should we be ashamed of the very thing that proves we've lived, we've laughed, we've loved, and we've endured? Why should we feel the need to erase the evidence of a life well lived? I once knew a woman named Eleanor. She was 82, and I swear, she was the most beautiful person I had ever met. Not because she had no wrinkles, not because she looked younger than her age, but because she carried herself with confidence. She had a warmth that radiated from within, a light in her eyes that spoke of wisdom, kindness, and grace. One day, someone asked her why she never dyed her hair. She smiled and said, "Why would I? Every silver strand is a reminder that I made it this far. I've earned these years, and I wouldn't trade them for anything." That moment changed the way I saw beauty. Because real beauty isn't about looking young, it's about embracing who you are, fully and unapologetically. Every wrinkle tells a story, every laugh line is proof of joy, every gray hair is a sign of wisdom earned over the years. Why would we want to erase that? The truth is, beauty isn't found in a bottle, a cream, or a procedure. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you smile, the kindness you show to others, the wisdom you share. So why spend another moment trying to fit into a version of beauty that was never meant for us? We are not meant to look like we did at 30, because we are not who we were at 30. We are stronger, wiser, and filled with experiences that have shaped us into who we are today. And that is something to be proud of. So stand tall. Own your beauty. Let the world see you as you are, a person who has lived, loved, and overcome. Because the most beautiful thing in the world isn't youth. It's confidence. It's authenticity. It's you. And that kind of beauty? That never fades. 5. Reevaluating activities that no longer bring joy. Life is full of routines, things we once enjoyed, traditions we've upheld, habits we've followed without question. But as the years pass, something changes. The hobbies we once loved may no longer excite us. The obligations we once felt tied to may feel more like chores than sources of fulfillment. And yet, many of us continue out of habit, telling ourselves, "I've always done it this way, so I should keep doing it." But should we? Should we keep doing something just because it's familiar, even if it no longer brings us joy? I knew a man named Robert, a retired teacher who had spent decades playing golf every Sunday morning. It was his routine, his tradition. But one day, at the age of 74, he admitted something surprising. "You know, I don't even like golf anymore." He had been going every weekend, not because he loved it, but because it was simply what he had always done. When I asked him what he would rather be doing, his face lit up. "Painting," he said. He had always loved art but never had the time to explore it. So he did something bold. He quit golf and picked up a paintbrush. And for the first time in years, he felt alive again. That's the beauty of life after 70. You have the freedom to choose. You no longer have to do things just because they've been part of your routine. You can let go of the activities that no longer serve you and make space for new joys, new experiences, new passions. Maybe you've been going to the same weekly meeting for years out of obligation, but deep down, you'd rather be reading a book in peace. Maybe you've been cooking elaborate meals every night because it's what you've always done, but now you'd rather enjoy something simple. That's okay. You don't have to justify changing. You only have to ask yourself one thing: does this bring me joy? And if the answer is no, let it go. Give yourself permission to evolve, to explore, to try something new. Whether it's learning a skill, embracing a new hobby, or simply spending your time in a way that feels right for you, this stage of life is about fulfillment, not obligation. Let go of the old routines that no longer excite you. Because every single day is a chance to rediscover what truly makes you happy. And that, my friends, is the greatest freedom of all. 6. Cutting ties with toxic relationships. Not all relationships are meant to last a lifetime. Some uplift us, bring us joy, and support us through the years. Others, however, drain our energy, create stress, and leave us questioning our worth. For much of our lives, we may have tolerated toxic relationships, whether out of obligation, guilt, or the belief that things might change. But as we grow older, one thing becomes clear: time is too precious to spend it with people who make us feel small. I once knew a woman named Helen, who spent years maintaining a friendship with someone who constantly criticized her. Every phone call left her feeling exhausted, every conversation filled with negativity. When I asked her why she kept this person in her life, she sighed and said, "Because we've been friends for over 40 years. But then she paused and admitted, "But for 30 of those years, I've been miserable." That realization hit her hard. Just because a relationship has history doesn't mean it has value. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay. After 70, it's time to reclaim your peace. If a relationship leaves you feeling unappreciated, judged, or constantly drained, you have permission to walk away. You do not owe anyone your energy if they do not respect you, support you, or bring you joy. That goes for friendships, family members, even longtime acquaintances. Love should never feel like an obligation. The best relationships lift you up, not tear you down. This isn't about anger or resentment. It's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing that you deserve to be surrounded by kindness, understanding, and positivity. And sometimes, that means letting go. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as stepping back, reducing contact, or choosing not to engage in negative conversations. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that the people in your life truly care for you, respect you, and make you feel valued. Imagine the peace of spending your time only with those who bring you happiness. That peace is within your reach. But first, you must let go of what no longer serves you. Your time, your happiness, your well-being, they matter. Don't waste another moment on relationships that don't nourish your soul. You have the right to choose joy. Choose wisely. 7. Letting go of comparisons. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of joy. For years, we've measured ourselves against others, our successes, our homes, our families, even our health. We've looked at friends, neighbors, and even strangers, wondering, am I doing as well as them? Have I achieved enough? Am I falling behind? But as we grow older, one of the most freeing realizations is this: there is no race. There is no finish line. There is only your journey, and it is uniquely yours. I remember a man named George who spent much of his life comparing himself to his brother. His brother had more money, traveled more, and always seemed to be ahead. George often felt like he was less than, constantly chasing a version of success that was never his to begin with. One day, at 75, he sat in his backyard, listening to his grandchildren laugh, watching the sun set over the trees, and it hit him, this is my success. This is my joy. At that moment, he realized that what truly mattered wasn't how he measured up to someone else's life, but how much he appreciated his own. How many of us have spent too much time thinking someone else has it better? Social media and television only make it worse, showing us carefully curated images of people who seem to have perfect families, perfect vacations, perfect lives. But what we don't see are the struggles, the doubts, the losses. No one's life is as perfect as it seems. And even if it were, it wouldn't matter, because their journey is not yours. What if, instead of comparing, we started celebrating? What if we looked at our lives, the simple moments of joy, the love we've shared, the wisdom we've gained, and recognized them as true success? The moment you stop comparing is the moment you start living fully. Your story is enough. Your life is enough. You are enough. Let go of the need to measure up to anyone else. This is your life, your journey, your joy. And no one else can live it but you. 8. Redefining goals. What truly matters now. When we were younger, success often had a clear definition: building a career, earning money, achieving status, and meeting society's expectations. We chased goals that we thought would bring fulfillment, believing that once we reached a certain point, we would feel complete. But as we grow older, something shifts. We realize that the things we once strived for may no longer hold the same meaning. The question is no longer, what can I achieve, but rather, what truly brings me peace and joy? I once met a man named Thomas who had spent his entire life climbing the corporate ladder. For years, he measured success by promotions, paychecks, and recognition. But after retiring, he found himself restless, unsure of what to do with his days. Then one afternoon, while sitting with his granddaughter, she asked him to tell her a story. He began to share memories from his childhood, and her eyes lit up with excitement. In that moment, he realized something. His new goal wasn't about achievement, but connection. From that day forward, he made it his mission to share stories, to pass on wisdom, to be present for the people he loved. And in doing so, he found a fulfillment greater than any career had ever given him. Redefining goals isn't about giving up. It's about shifting our focus to what truly matters. Maybe your new goal is to spend more time in nature, to nurture relationships, to wake up each morning with gratitude. Maybe it's about learning something new, sharing your wisdom, or simply living each day with more peace and less stress. The beauty of this stage of life is that you get to decide. You are no longer bound by what society expects. So take a moment and ask yourself, what makes my heart feel full? What brings me joy? Let those answers guide you. It's never too late to redefine success, to rewrite your purpose, to embrace a life that feels truly fulfilling. Because in the end, the greatest goal isn't about how much we've achieved, it's about how deeply we've lived. And that, my friends, is the only goal that truly matters. 9. Prioritizing your own happiness without guilt. For years, we've been conditioned to put others first, to be the caregivers, the providers, the ones who make sacrifices so that others can thrive. We've done it for our children, our spouses, our friends, even our communities. And while giving is a beautiful part of life, many of us have reached a point where we realize that in always putting others before ourselves, we've left little room for our own joy. But now, at this stage in life, one truth stands tall: your happiness matters too. And you deserve to prioritize it, without guilt. I once met a woman named Linda, a mother of 4 who spent decades taking care of everyone else. She was always the one who hosted the holidays, babysat the grandchildren, and helped whenever someone needed something. But when she turned 72, she admitted something to me: "I've spent my whole life giving. But now, I want to do something for me, and I feel guilty about it." That guilt held her back. The idea of putting her own needs first felt selfish, even though she had given so much for so long. But then, one day, she made a decision. She booked a trip she had always dreamed of, spent a week by the ocean, and when she returned, she told me, "For the first time in a long time, I felt alive." Why do we carry guilt for choosing ourselves? Why do we feel like our happiness should come last? The truth is, happiness isn't selfish, it's necessary. When we nurture our own joy, we become better, more present, more fulfilled people. When we take care of our well-being, we have more to give, more love, more energy, more peace. So let this be the moment you let go of guilt. Take that walk. Read that book. Say no when you need to. Do what makes your soul feel full. You've spent years giving to others, and now, it's time to give something to yourself. Your happiness is not a luxury, it is a right. And you deserve to live the rest of your days in joy, without apology. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning feeling lighter, not weighed down by the expectations of others, not surrounded by clutter that no longer serves you, not tied to obligations that drain your energy. Imagine a life where you are no longer burdened by what people think, no longer holding on to relationships that steal your peace, no longer chasing goals that no longer fulfill you. Imagine waking up simply feeling free. This isn't just a dream. It's a choice. A choice you can make today, right now, in this very moment. The choice to let go. To release what no longer brings joy, to stop carrying unnecessary weight, to live the rest of your life on your own terms. Because here's the truth, you don't have time to waste. None of us do. We don't know how many days we have left, but we do know this: we are alive today. And that is a gift. A gift too precious to spend on things that don't bring happiness, on people who don't appreciate us, on routines that no longer serve us. So, my dear friends, I ask you, what will you let go of today? Will you release the fear of judgment? Will you free yourself from possessions that no longer bring meaning? Will you say no to obligations that exhaust you? Will you embrace the beauty of who you are, exactly as you are? Will you choose joy? Because here's what happens when you do. Life gets simpler. Life gets lighter. Life gets better. The days ahead of you can be filled with peace, with laughter, with the deep contentment that comes from knowing you are living for yourself, not for others, not for the past, but for the present moment. And so I leave you with this: let go. Let go of the burdens you were never meant to carry. Let go of the weight that keeps you from fully embracing the life you have left. And walk forward with an open heart, knowing that the best years of your life aren't behind you. They are right here, right now. And it's time to live them fully.